TomoNews presents Norway. Norway announces an engineering world first. Norway will spend $315 million on the world's first ship tunnel in a bid to improve maritime safety and cut journey times. The 1,700-meter-long tunnel will carve through the solid rock of the Stad Peninsula in western Norway, allowing ships weighing up to 16,000 tons to pass between two fjords. The tunnel will allow cargo vessels and passenger ships to navigate more safely through the Stadhavet Sea. The width between the tunnel walls is 36 meters. A traffic light system will be used to show when it's safe to pass. The team behind the tunnel expects that 5 ships per hour will be able to pass through it. Construction on the project will begin by 2019 at the earliest, with completion expected by 2023. Norway plans submerged floating tunnels to make driving easier. The floating underwater tunnel you see here could be the solution to Norway's transportation challenges. Norway is known for its beautiful fjords, the deep inlets of ocean that form between its high cliffs. But getting over one means taking a ferry, and that can add hours to a car trip. Because fjords can be up to a mile deep, building a bridge over the waterway or tunnel underneath is not very practical. Norway's engineers think they have the answer. They want to float concrete tunnels 100 feet below the ocean's surface. This would allow ships to sail unobstructed by bridges. That's because floating pontoons would hold the concrete tunnels in place. At the moment, engineers are crunching the numbers on the ambitious $25 billion project. If all goes to plan, the world could get its first floating underwater tunnel by the year 2035.
Guy scares the bejesus out of friend with chainsaw prank. Tom and his best friend Marius were on a road trip from Norway to Sweden on Sunday. When they decided to stop at the side of the road to rest. Tom waited until Marius fell asleep, then he stuck behind the trunk and pulled out a chainsaw. The chainsaw, of course, doesn't have a blade, but Marius doesn't know this. Marius said he thought he was going to die, until he realized it was his friend Tom. Marius told Norway's Dagbladet newspaper that he plans to get revenge on Tom. He says he already has some ideas, but he's welcome to suggestions from other people.
Oh, crap baskets! Norwegian Cato Bernstein Larsen got into some seriously deep shit for a friend last week. How deep? This deep! His buddy lost his phone down a South Norway crapper, and being the slimmer of the two, Larsen decided to jump in on after it. He became trapped in waist-high excrement inside a sewage tank that's only emptied once a year. Larsen was terrified and said it was disgusting as hell. We can only imagine the horror. 4 firemen were called in to yank Larsen out of the poop chute, and the crapper was destroyed during the rescue. We said good riddance. Who knows what kind of Nordic poop demons were lurking in there. Larsen was taken to hospital and was reportedly a little traumatized, but no, overall okay. And at the end of it, he got his buddy's phone back. Now that's what we call a true friend. She's the youngest billionaire in the world, and she actually seems kind of nice. Hating on the uber rich is fun, especially since they usually make it so easy. But you're gonna have a harder time hating on Norwegian Alexandra Andresen, who at the age of 19 has just become the world's youngest billionaire. Alexandra, whose Instagram page notes that she is a vegan, now lives in Germany and is completely devoted to dressage, or as we common folk call it, horse dancing. Now, great-great-great-grandpa Andresen started galloping towards wealth by building Norway's leading cigarette company back in 1849. But in 2005, the family sold their tobacco holdings for ethical reasons, they claim, whipping up $500 million, which they diversified into property, private equity, and hedge funds.
Then in 2007, Daddy Andresen, Johan H., handed over 80% of the company's reins to his two daughters. Partially because that's how rich Norwegians roll, we hear. And there was also reportedly something related to ponying up inheritance taxes as well. Which canters us on to 2016 and the Forbes announcement that Alexandra is now one of the 9 richest women on Earth and hands down the youngest. The sisters say being wealthy is cool and all, but Daddy made sure to keep them as human as possible, letting them buy whatever nice car they liked, but the carriage had to be secondhand. Oh, you Norwegians! Stop making greed look bad! Anyway, Alexandra is doing well in her sport, winning championships, and she reportedly started riding ponies when she was 3. So there you have it. The world's youngest billionaire is a sweet-looking 19-year-old Norwegian woman with a mixed martial arts fighter for a boyfriend. And all she wants from life is to ride her horse. Any haters got something to say? Trot on down to the comments and hate away!
Lightning strike kills more than 300 reindeer in Norway. This is not a reindeer game. More than 300 wild reindeer were killed by lightning in southern Norway last week. It's believed the incident occurred last Friday afternoon when thunderstorms hit the Hardangervidda National Park. According to officials, all of the reindeer were found within a radius of just 50 meters. Because of the way the reindeer were positioned, officials think the reindeer were all killed in a single lightning strike. In all, 332 reindeer were killed in the freak accident. Looks like Santa may need to find some other mode of transportation this winter. Either that or Rudolph is gonna have to pull extra hard this Christmas.
School bus hits mighty moose. Ouch! Dashcam video from Sorvik Troms, Norway shows the moment a moose is hit by a bus. The driver of the bus said they passed one moose standing alongside the road, and then another moose just ran out and... Wow! That moose just got smoked by a school bus and then walked it off like a champ. Let's see that again. The moose enters the screen on the lower right. There's not much the bus driver could have done to avoid the impact. The moose narrowly misses being hit by the oncoming car, but we're pretty sure it would have caused more damage to the vehicle than the animal. Nobody on the bus was injured. You know, it almost looks like the moose was either on a suicide mission or was trying to score some sort of insurance claim. What do you think?
Norway to invest almost $1 billion on bicycle highways. Norway's latest multi-million-dollar bicycle highway project will create bike commuter links between the outer suburbs and inner city. The bike highway is part of the new national transit plan to clean up Norway's transit pollution. It calls for 10 broad, 2-lane cross-country bike tracks in and near Norway's 9 largest cities. In the absence of cars, the highway will allow cyclists to travel up to 40 kilometers per hour, making long-distance travel more realistic. Officials hope the new lanes will provide a safer and quicker means of travel, take pressure off roads and public transit, and help decrease Norway's use of fossil fuels. Initially, instead of building highways that will link cities across hundreds of miles, the protected cycle network will extend out from urban cores through the commuter belt and into the countryside.
Researchers in Norway teach horses to communicate with people. Researchers in Norway have made a breakthrough in the study of animal cognition, using symbols to help horses communicate their level of comfort to humans. In the study, 23 horses were exposed to a range of hot, cold, and warm temperatures and given 3 symbol boards to select from based on what they experienced. If a horse nudged the board with the horizontal line, it communicated to the researchers the horse felt cold and was asking for its blanket. If a horse nudged the board with a vertical line, it communicated that it felt hot and wanted the blanket removed. If a horse nudged a board with no symbol on it, it was communicating it felt comfortable. Horses were given a carrot for making the correct choices. It was clear whether the horses were choosing the symbols that corresponded with their comfort, as they were either covered in thick blankets designed to make them uncomfortably hot, or taken outside in freezing cold temperatures which would call for them to demand a blanket. The horses learned to provide their preferences after only 14 days of 10 to 15 minutes of training each day. This new research groups horses in with apes, dolphins, and pigeons as animals proven to be able to communicate with humans through symbols.
Climate change is shrinking reindeer. Santa may need more than just 9 reindeer to pull his sleigh this year, as researchers find the iconic Arctic animals are literally shrinking. An adult reindeer in Svalbard in the Norwegian Arctic weighed 55 kilograms in 1994. In 2015, one weighed just over 48 kilograms, a 12% decrease. Before, the animals could just brush snow off and eat moss and lichen during the region's 8-month-long winters. But with temperatures going up, rain that falls on existing snow freezes, creating a hard ice that is difficult for a reindeer to penetrate, which keeps them from reaching food below. Lack of calories has led to stunted growth and has caused pregnant females to either abort their young for survival or give birth to smaller calves. In summer, warmer weather brings in an abundant food supply that results in more yet smaller reindeer, as well as more competition for scarce food during winter. Scientists believe there's a possibility that even higher temperatures could lead to shorter winters, making food more available for reindeer to produce heavier offspring. For now, though, that remains a distant hope.
On the menu tonight, Hipbone. Norwegian artist Alexander Andresen has redefined Scandinavian cuisine. This adventurous eater was born with a deformed hip and had spent most of his life in a wheelchair. 4 years ago, he had an operation on his hip, and then he asked the doctor if he could keep his hip bone after the surgery. Wangshul also filmed the entire operation. Originally, Wangshul was just going to exhibit his hip bone, but then he came up with an idea when he saw meat on the bone. Maybe I should eat it, he thought, after which he chowed down on his own flesh with a side of potatoes and a glass of red wine. It tasted just like wild sheep, he noted. Wangshul now exhibits his removed bone and the video footage of his surgery. He says he wants people to think about how we think about our body parts. Okay, sure, I'll think about my body parts, but I'm not gonna eat any of them!
Norway and the UK building world's first unmanned ship for offshore ops. A Norwegian shipyard known for making waves in green marine technology is now set to build the world's first autonomous ship for commercial use, Krun. As an unmanned vessel, Krun will be remotely controlled, keeping humans away from potential dangers at sea. Krun will be designed for a variety of missions, such as hydrographic surveying and support for open water fish farms. The ship will also be used to transport light, intermodal cargo and make deliveries to offshore installations. When acting as a standby vessel, Krun will be able to provide firefighting support to offshore platforms when needed. Construction of Krun is scheduled to begin in January 2017. It will then be put through sea trials, with plans for it to be available for field operations in 2018. Doomsday Vault will preserve seeds for 1,000 years. Deep inside a mountain on a remote Norwegian island are more than 860,000 varieties of seeds, kept literally on ice for preservation. Not far from the North Pole, the global seed vault is safely buried into the Plataborger Mountain in Svalbard, Norway. The vault was created to safeguard one of the planet's most vulnerable and valuable resources, plants. The vault opened in 2008 and is nearly 394 feet inside a mountain. The facility was designed to last 1,000 years and to withstand a range of catastrophes, including climate change. Currently, more than 800,000 samples are housed in the vault. The plan is to hold up to 4.5 million varieties of crops, with an average of 500 samples of each variety. The vault can hold a maximum total of around 2.5 billion seeds. The seeds are stored and sealed in custom-made 3-ply foil packages, which are sealed inside boxes and stored inside the vault. Permafrost and thick rock ensure that the seed samples will remain frozen at -18 degrees Celsius, even without power. The area is geologically stable with low humidity levels and is well above sea level, keeping the seeds dry even if the ice caps melt. Like a bank, deposited seeds can only be withdrawn by the depositor. Security at the vault is state-of-the-art and fully automated. There are no full-time staff and no single person with all the keys necessary for entrance. The vault is, in essence, a fail-safe backup system for the world's seed banks, a last resort for the preservation of plant genealogy.